Hi, everybody. Welcome to Effective Black Parenting Program. Today, we will be going through a lesson, and our first lesson will be the pyramid to success for Black children. And we are going to talk about the 5 life goals that we want our children to achieve. So we will be jumping into it. So when we think about the 5 life goals we want our children to achieve, they're actually all pretty simple. So the first one is a good job. The second one is education. The third one is relationships. The fourth one is involvement in the community. And the fifth one is resisting street pressures. So with all these 5 goals in mind, how can we help our children achieve those things? So we'll start with the good job. So when we think of our children having a good job, what does that really look like? And I'm gonna write it out.
A career, a lawyer maybe, a doctor.
I like those ideas.
Teacher maybe. A lot of kids would like to be a teacher.
Something that they will be happy in. Something that they can they want to do, that's in their interests, that we like foster as while they're little, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even them having like their own job, entrepreneurship.
Those are some good ideas. Definitely. I'm real bad with my spelling. Sure.
You could just put business owner because I don't really know how to spell
that. That is good, definitely, for sure. And then even those jobs, as Ashley said, can be like a lawyer, doctor.
Yeah, just career driven. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I like that. Summary, career driven. I agree with those for sure. So when we have, or our children, obtain that good job, before they get there can be education. So how or what does that look like for our children when we say education? What do we want them to accomplish in this category?
For sure, high school diploma, starting off. I think college is great, but I think trade schools are also great. I love a trade school. I think it's so beneficial. It's inexpensive, and it can really give you some tools to find a really good job in your field.
I agree, especially if you don't want to wait so long to get either like a certificate or diploma. That definitely is a good option for sure.
And if they want to continue after college with getting their master's or PhD, only if they want to continue, because school is already long in general.
Right.
As parents, we got to support them.
Right, exactly. And sometimes it doesn't even take that diploma or college, like getting that experience in the field. That's why I actually really like trade schools, is because they really help you focus on that specific I guess job that you want, rather than kind of doing the whole thing. But still, either one is definitely helpful for sure when it does come to helping our children achieve that education goal, but also move on to having a good job. So yes, definitely. Now we move on to relationships. Um, so what do we want our children to achieve when it does come to relationships? And it could be any kind of relationship, work, school, those intimate relationships, family relationships.
Healthy and balanced. I feel like sometimes, we all have parents for the most part. And sometimes your parents can see things before you see them, and they can maybe see, where it's not unhealthy, or where, you're being used as a friend, or things just aren't how they should be. So I definitely, want healthy, balanced, like non-toxic relationships of all kinds for my little one.
I agree 100% with that, Jen.
And I think knowing your worth in those relationships will lead you to, that balance and knowing when to step
Good one. That's a really good one.
There we go. That's self-confidence. I'm going to just put that in big bold. That definitely is a big one, especially really to have, because you definitely have to be comfortable with yourself and love yourself before you can even love anybody else. So that's really good.
And I want to being comfortable being alone. I'm sorry, and I know we're on to the next one, but being like teaching your kids to be alone is like a really good like characteristic,
Yes, I agree. I'm gonna say comfortability with being alone. But yes, definitely. But also not even with just like those intimate relationships, even with like working relationships, I want to say making sure that you're able to communicate, for sure. And obviously that comes with, I guess in a way, what I'm trying to say, it does come with self-confidence. Like you don't want anybody to try to run over you, or just because, they might be higher up than you, they can just talk to you any way that they think they can. Definitely being able to like hold your ground, especially for what you stand for, and be able to speak up. Because I know sometimes even those work settings, that can be a problem. So I wish I had a little more room. There we go. Let's see. Speak your truth. Your truth. Yes. Put that there. Perfect. But yes, those are all good things we can definitely help our children with when it does come to developing those healthy relationships. The next category is community. So really being involved in their community, especially because our focus is effective Black parenting. We are heading our African American community. So what's some things we want our children probably to be involved with when it does come to this section?
Volunteer work, maybe.
I was just about to say volunteer work.
Service.
Let me see.
I think even just like attending events in the community can be really good, and exposing them to that environment.
Yeah, I do that. Take them to like little, FRC events and stuff like that when I can. Yeah, I think that is a great idea.
I think even sometimes community can be, your people at school, your people at church. I think just getting involved when and where you can.
Yes. Just keep it at that. Yes, that's real good. Sorry, I'm on my screen. Oh, dang. All right, so the last one we are going to tackle is resisting street pressures. So, what ideas of what we want our children to become, but there are things we don't want our children to become, obviously. So we have all these ideas of what we want our children to become. What are some things, especially within this category, that we don't want our children to become, to be doing, definitely get involved in?
I think a big one is maybe saying no to, doing drugs and maybe drinking alcohol. Sometimes it reached them at a young age, so just being okay with saying no is good.
I think a big one is like being comfortable with communicating with them or communicating to them. I feel like when kids are comfortable communicating with their parents, they feel more comfortable in like coming to them with questions about like what other people are doing. When you talk to them regularly, like about their friends at school, you can kind of like really get to know who their peers are and what their peers are doing. And you can really like get ahead of whatever could be coming down the pipeline if you have like open lines of communication.
Yes. Especially if they ask, or like if that's like a topic that you don't want to handle, they gon' find out a different way. Yeah. So definitely that's really good to have that open communication.
Being honest with them about consequences. Like we all know stories about like somebody who was at the wrong place or at the wrong time, or somebody who got mixed up in something that wasn't really their idea. I think that that's important, that honesty aspect and not sugarcoating it.
Right, because it definitely happens for sure.
So I wonder, will it be like basically being your own, like, being a leader, not the follower? Is that saying no? Would that be the saying no?
Yeah. Yes, but I like the way you summed it up, being a leader instead of a follower, because peer pressure is big.
That's what I'm teaching my baby. Like, if you don't want to do something, you need to speak up and say you don't want to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So awesome. So when we do think about it, this is just a list of things that we can help our children achieve, especially as they get older, and even help them learn their way to navigate life. And being able to have that confidence, being able to say no, develop those specific relationships, being involved in the community, and being able to access those different resources, especially when it comes to education, completing a high school diploma, moving on to either college, trade school, or even, going straight to a job that they like. So these are all ways that we can definitely help our children achieve those specific goals. So definitely thank you for hanging out with us. Definitely let us know what your ideas are. And how you guys feel about it, and even what goals you might have for your children. But with that being said, we would definitely have more for you next week. So don't forget to tap in, or actually this Thursday at 2 p.m. But we'll see you guys next week. Yeah, remember this. Hey, Mr. Donald. Yes, yes.